What is good, Ambush? And welcome to this week's episode of the Desert Tiger Podcast. I am your host here on the DTP. I am the Colton G. And this week on Desert Tiger, I am joined by Rosh Grove as we talk about his new EP, Weakdays, Friday Vibes. And we're going to be playing all 3 tracks off of this EP for you today. So you're definitely going to want to be sticking around for all of those as well to hear all about the songs. Friday Vibes is also part 2 of a 3-part series, this Weakdays series. So of course, you know we're also going to be diving into part 1 of Weakdays, that is Thursday Feels. We're also going to be jumping into Roshan's progression as a musician, as a writer. It all started with a school class project. How exactly did he progress from the classroom into releasing his own music? We're also going to be talking about his first moniker, R.T.B.theWriter. A bit about that period and what was the choice like to shift to Rosh Grove. Why did he make this decision? We're also going to be diving into Rosh's experience as an actor. Rosh has an acting degree from York University in Ontario, and he also has some credits as a stage actor as well. How has his time, his experiences as an actor, how has it helped him as a musician? And of course, we're going to be talking about Rosh's message of overcoming adversity and some of the challenges that he has faced along his way on his journey. Yes, all of this and much more in today's episode with Rosh Grove. We're going to be getting to the first track off of Friday Vibes right away. But first off, I just want to go ahead and shout out ilovedtp.com. because that is the best place where you can go ahead and support the Desert Tiger Podcast by checking out the website, maybe purchasing a little bit of merchandise, and well, then wearing that merchandise everywhere you go to show your support of the show. ilovedtp.com. 2 new designs coming next week. Yes, next week. All right, why don't we go ahead and kick this party off? Why don't we keep it a little low-key?
Cheers! It's R.G, baby. Woo! Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Too low, turn up. Watch the stove, it might burn up. Who am I? Just an average guy, one of the best you ain't heard of. On the rise, but still low-key. Dreams drop, but I don't sleep. I'm a nice guy, but I throw heat and I bust shots like Kobe. Long nights turn to short days. What can I say? That's how Rosh plays. 3 chains, I'm just boasting, and I don't tie, no crochet. Skip the loud for the cold of silence, but I'm always plugged like a home appliance. First offense, you get no compliance. I'm a big boss, no client. I make my moves in the dark on the low. Share all my business with people I know. If you're a lame trying to get in the game, I'ma throw you the shade and show you where to go. Call me whatever, but fool or a skeptic. But trust is the thing that cannot be neglected. Saving my money, don't pay for attention, and always stay scheming for further transgression.
And I'm just warming up. Are you right to be scared? Yes.
I be saying words, but I don't speak. On the real, but I don't preach. I keep going in, cause I don't sleep. Keep it real if you know me. If you know me. Keep it low key. Keep it low key. Keep it low key. Right there if you know me. Keep it low key. Keep it low key. Keep it low key. Right there if you know me. Don't let them tell it. Trust me, they ain't gonna sell it. Said they be making it rain, but only if y'all got umbrellas. Don't be convinced, they story's legit. They say it's a splash when it's barely a trip. Swinging the miss, got nothing to diss. They shooting the shots but be piling up bricks. I move in silence, stay cashing the checks. Don't need the band cause I'm rich in respect. I still be dripping to show them the flex. Holding the flame, for me it's no press. I'm on a scheme, chasing a dream. About to do things that you will not believe. I keep the smile that makes your girl scream. Since I'm on the low, for me it's a breeze. I get it in every time, it's a win. Ain't nothing funny, but still keep a grin. Keeping it wavy and never get lazy. Y'all starting over while I just begin. Keep it low key if I throw you a bone, cause it's always better to sit on the throne. Don't get it twisted, my team moving strong, but I make it look like I do this alone.
That's how I like it, man. Keep moving in silence, low key, you know what I mean? Cheers.
I be saying words, but I don't speak. On the real, but I don't preach. I keep going in, cause I don't sleep. Keep it trill if you know me. If you know me. Keep it low key. Keep it low key. Keep it low key. Right there if you know me. Keep it low key. Keep it low key. Keep it low key. Right there if you know me.
The Desert Tiger Podcast.
What's going on, Colton?
I am fantastic. What is good with you? Rosh, I believe it is?
Rosh, yeah.
Rosh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
kind of like Josh, but hey, either way is good, man.
Hey, I just wanted to make sure. All right. Either way, glad to hear that you're having a good day.
Oh, man, you gotta be happy on a day like this, man, especially through these times,
Agreed. You have to learn to smell the roses and appreciate the beauty that is available.
Exactly, man. That's the facts right there, man. For real. Your day's going okay as well?
Oh yeah, definitely. It's very nice and sunny outside. I just came back from making some tea and a quick snack, so I'm in a good mood.
Oh, nice, man. Shoot. Always gotta have the tea on deck, man.
Oh, yeah.
It's a good day.
Gotta have that ready.
For real, man.
All right, fantastic. Awesome. So we're connecting to talk a little bit about some weekdays.
100%, man. Shoot, I appreciate you having me, and just thankful to get to connect with you, man, and just chat about some good music coming out.
Yeah, for sure. We'll cover the bases, no doubt. I'm loving the tunes. I've just actually was jamming to them while I was making my tea, so keeping them fresh on mind.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you for the love, man.
No worries. All right, so you want to just jump right into it?
Hey, let's do it, man. It's the best way to do it.
All right, so where exactly does the writing begin? Because you are quite a writer. You've been writing for a while. So exactly what led to you first putting that paper and pen together?
Oh, man. It actually started when I was really, really young, around age 11. I remember I was in school. I think it was in the 5th grade at that point. And there was an assignment that came out that was like, hey, I want you to write something, whether it's a story, a song, or a rap. And, at the time in my life, I was more into rock music, but, I'd listen to like Eminem and 50 Cent and everything. I was like, you know what, let me try to write a rap and just see, like, try my hand at it, and see how it comes out. And, it was like, looking back on it now, it was very beginner, but, there were some gems in there that I felt, really inspired something in me that I had never felt before. So I just kind of kept rolling with it. And now about 16 years later, man, just still rolling hard, still got the desire and still got the passion for it.
Nice. So it was actually school that helped lead you into this passion. Usually school's trying to lead people away from the artistic pursuit, so I'm glad to hear that wasn't the case here.
Yeah. I was always the type that I was a good kid, man. Like I enjoyed school and I always tried to embrace it for, what it was. And, I would look for pockets of that kind of stuff, right? Like, because most of the inspiration comes outside of school, but, there was always opportunities within assignments to, express yourself artistically. So that was something that, always drew me to it.
Fantastic. So, of course, within the school, there's the environment of, you need it for a class requirement. But once you take it outside of that classroom, how do you begin to progress? Like, learning how to not only create beats, but even just find other producers and stuff to be able to record, master, all of that, from taking it from that classroom and beginning to write? How do you begin to learn all of the other aspects that go into this game?
I think that it starts with, your level of passion for it, because if you just want to be an artist that just, sings every now and then you're not really going to seek those things out, and you're not really going to dive deep into, behind the scenes of everything, right? For me, I loved music, and I was like, I started asking myself questions. Well, I love writing, but, what is the whole artistry behind production? And, what's the whole artistry behind marketing and building a brand and whatnot? So it really started with developing a passion within the other aspects outside of songwriting. And then, you kind of just do some Google searches, or, you look at like who you listen to. One of the earliest inspirations for me was Neo. And I looked at him like, wow, okay, well, he's a songwriter, but who else is writing these songs, So when I would buy albums, I would actually look at the credits inside and to see like, oh, okay, so this was produced by Stargate. Okay, well, who's Stargate? Then you look at that and be like, oh, okay, these are some Swedish producers that, have created all these hits of some people that I like. Well, okay, who's this person? And, who's this manager that, looks after this side and everything. So I feel like it really just stems out of how passionate you are that will make you go and start seeking those opportunities. And then you learn things about yourself as you go along. For myself, I really picked up a passion for production by learning about, how these people make these awesome records. And I sat down and said, I want to be the one that does that as well. And also if, the artist thing doesn't work out, man, maybe I could still be connected to music by producing or writing records.
That's fair. So at what age do you feel that you started creating your own beats, and exactly like what software or exactly what were you using at that point in time?
Yeah, for sure. Oh man, I think I was around 15 when I really started to find myself, when I first created my first persona, which was R.T.B.theWriter. And I was using actually FL Studios. And it was a friend of mine that actually told me about the software and said, hey, like this is like a jump off point that a lot of producers started with. So I feel like I did a mini hustle. I think I was like delivering newspapers or something to be able to buy it. And then I have an uncle in my family who actually sat down with me and was teaching me about instrumentation and, about time signatures and, different sounds that you can create. And a lot of it was just me kind of just spending countless hours of just sitting in front of a computer and just learning this and putting in this generator and, playing with these instruments and whatnot, and just really starting to grasp how the program works in a sense. So it was a lot of early influences from other people that I knew that were doing it. But really it was around 15 when I really started to figure out who I was and that I wanted to take this seriously.
Awesome. So what was the idea behind the first moniker, R.T.B.theWriter?
Oh, man. It's actually a funny story because at that point, you start looking at the different artists that are around at that time. And I think around, that was maybe 2005, 2006, 50 Cent was big and T.I. was big. And, you start thinking like, okay, well, I have to have a catchy name. I remember looking at Gucci Mane and I was like, that's kind of cool because it's something that he likes and he's creating a persona off of that. So my whole thing was always songwriting, and I wanted to emphasize the fact that I was a songwriter and I loved writing music. And I thought, you know what? Well, the best way to personalize this is, just take my initials, right? RTB, and then just say what I am, the writer. Yeah. So it's it sounds like I wanted to give something like very like in depth and, had like a very deep meaning, but it was really just what it was, like R.T.B. the writer. That's who I am. And, when you listen to my music, that's what you're going to get.
Okay. So around the point that you start releasing albums as well, you actually also start your first record label. So I'm guessing that also ties into the research of all of the different processes of the business.
Yeah, because I realized at that time, a lot of rappers especially would have like, they'd be associated with a label or like a gang in some sort of sense. Not a gang in terms of like, a violent gang, but like, just a music related gang.
A crew.
A crew. There we go. That's the better way to say it. So I just thought, what, let me, to be seen as professional, let me sort of emulate what these guys are doing. And one of my earliest influences was Jay-Z and his whole Rockefeller movement. That was something I was like, okay, well, if I'm going to come out and try to be like these guys, then I have to have my own sort of identity, my own sort of platform to kind of put myself out there. And that's where Right Away Entertainment really started. And it sort of led to me learning the business side of the music, right? Because it's one thing to be a good artist and make good music, but it's a whole other aspect to, be a celebrity in a sense and to build your brand and to build a cult following. So Right Away just kind of became the business behind the artist, to put it very simply.
Awesome. Definitely trying to dive into all of the different aspects, and Jay-Z is definitely a good role model for that aspect, as he's tackled so many different things.
For sure, man. It's inspiring, man. Like Jay, like even Diddy, and just really became an entrepreneur of the industry, and that's something that I was glad to take an influence from.
Fantastic. All right. So those first couple albums is R.T.B.theWriter. Looking back, what do you see from the individual you were then and now seeing how have you felt that you've grown from those moments?
Oh, man. It's always nice to look back and, to get an idea of like what mindset you're in. Like I was actually listening to my first album, The Right Way, the other day. And I'm really proud to say that, nothing has ever made me cringe in terms of, oh, why did I sing this? Why did I say that? I think it was just a very good beginning of who I was as an artist and what I was trying to say. And one of my goals has always been, overcoming adversity and conquering struggle and always doing things out of passion. I think the only thing I was missing back then was just, a very concrete idea of what to say and how to say it in terms of concept wise. But the way that it's helped me now is that I've been open to so many different avenues of music. One of the things I always used to do was do things myself. And I said, like, I'm going to be the only one that holds myself accountable. So I'm going to be my own songwriter, producer, engineer, you name it. I'm going to do everything. And nowadays I realize that being a jack of all trades makes you a master of none. And that's not something that you really want to put out there as somebody who has an identity of, I'm a songwriter and I'm doing this and I'm owning this aspect of the game. So it taught me that I can be good at one thing and okay in another, but then open that avenue to somebody else who might have the skills to get me to where I want to go. So for example, I always saw myself as an okay producer, but my style was very niche and unique. But then I said, you know what, let me try to reach out to other people who are masters of production. And that led to collaborations with Kings and one of my closest friends, Tony Anvil, who are good at that aspect of it, which also led into, you know what, there's engineering and mastering, and there's some people who have an art form that's dedicated just to that. So if I connect with those people, then they can help elevate what I'm trying to do. So looking back on it, it's just interesting to see that I was doing it all myself, and I'm very impressed by that. But knowing now that it's okay to be a master of one thing and then to work with other people that are masters of other things.
Mm-hmm. It's always good to have a knowledge of things just in case you ever have to cover some of those bases yourself at any point in time. But of course, always connecting with other individuals also does allow you to help shine yourself, because you got to focus more on the other parts of what you're doing.
Exactly. And that's one thing that I learned early on, because I was big on education, and my mom was actually really big on getting an education in the entertainment side and the management side of music, because you always hear these stories about artists that, get taken for a ride or in bogus deals and stuff because they don't necessarily understand or have the right people around them to make them understand what's going on in terms of contracts and whatnot. So that was something that was very important to me, to have an understanding of everything, but, just so I don't get taken for a ride, if anything.
Absolutely. So you mentioned earlier that you have a message of facing adversities. So if you don't mind, what are some of the adversities that maybe you had to face in the earlier stages of your career and maybe still continue to face?
Yeah, for sure. I think the main one was coming from a single parent household, and I have two sisters. I wasn't able to always, participate in things that would help me or advance me in my career. One of the earliest things was I always wanted to learn how to play the piano and play guitar, but we didn't necessarily have the funds to allocate to that because, it's got to spread. And, that's everybody's story. That's life. But what it did to me was it actually inspired me to figure out other ways of doing it. So if I wasn't able to pay for a classroom to get in there, then how can I still try to learn how to play the piano? So when I was in high school, I actually was really cool with my music teacher. And, I told him that, I'm really interested in learning how to play, but, I just don't have anything or a place to go to practice. Do you mind if I just, go into the back room and just kind of mess around with it for a little bit? Mm-hmm. And, he was nice enough to recognize that I had this drive and this hunger that he would allow me to stay in the room. You just be like, hey, you know what, just lock up when you're done and, have at it. So every day after school, like I would spend maybe like 3 or 4 hours just sitting at the piano, just playing notes and just trying to learn how to move my fingers and really understanding like the tones and, everything, so that when I would go to making my own music, I could actually play something. And the same thing happened with guitars. Like, when I got a little bit older, I was able to, make my own money and then allocate it towards going to university and just getting a basic understanding of it. So, it was really hard, coming up because, there's a lot of things that you want to do and you think that, getting a lesson from this person is going to help you progress, like in terms of your growth and your knowledge and stuff. But sometimes it's really just depends how passionate you are, and it's gonna make you figure out other ways to go get it.
Absolutely. So we mentioned some of the idols that inspired you coming out of some of these adversities before inside of a musical sense, but going through some of your social media, I saw a post that featured Carter from The Weekenders, which is a show I also watched when I was growing up. So I'm wondering, what were some of your influences outside of music?
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm a student of the theater. That's what I went to school for. And I was always really into film and acting at a very young age. So I used to watch a lot of cartoons and I used to study actors. It's actually kind of funny because I'm the type of, my friends usually say that I'm the type you come to get like a really in-depth review of things because I look at things differently. But I was really inspired by, different actors, including Will Smith, Denzel Washington, and, Michael B. Jordan even nowadays, because they do so, like, you can kind of see the same passion and the same drive in what they do. And they're also very inspiring and influential individuals where they have this message of, do things out of passion and good things will come. So very inspired by film, also really into art as well. Classical, sorry, just trying to gather my thoughts here. And just the whole aspect of growing in terms of learning different languages and learning about different cultures and stuff, seeing the way that the world is outside of your own world and your own perspective, definitely things that I take influence from and, just helped shape me into the person I am today.
All right, fantastic. I love that. So you mentioned acting and film, and you actually have a degree in theater as well. You have some credits in the Toronto theater scene too. So what inspired you to pursue that dream?
It was always a battle coming up because I had always been equally passionate about music and film from a very young age. And even all the way up into the end of high school, I was like, okay, well, you got to focus on one. Like, what are you going to do? So what I said to myself was, you know what, I think I have a good grasp of music outside of school. So now let me try to pursue it. Let me pursue acting like inside so that I can really get an understanding of how that world is. Because at that point in my life, I had no one around me who was into theater or into film at all, as much as I was. So it was a very cool experience going to York and, being around people who are just as passionate, if not more than I was. And it kind of showed me that there are so many different things that you can do with that art and how it intersects with different art forms like music. So it inspired me to really take that aspect of filmmaking and, link it to my music in terms of how I make visuals and how I do cover art and stuff to kind of create like a whole experience outside of just listening for my fans and whatnot.
Mm-hmm. So it helped you grow your game and other aspects that you maybe hadn't exactly developed quite as much from the visual standpoint, whereas you had already handled the audio.
Oh, 100%. I even think that it helped me grow in terms of the audio aspect of making music because in acting, what they teach us is that, it's very important to have a lived experience and to, experience emotion wholeheartedly so that you can deliver an authentic sort of experience for people that watch your films or whatever. So it made me think about that. Well, how do I do that with music? If I'm making a song that's very sad and I want people to relate to it that have gone through a breakup, then I need to showcase that pain with the way that I sing or the way that I rap, or, if it's not coming out fully in the audio aspect of it, then the visual has to really represent that. So I really owe a lot of my success and my understanding of music to my acting experience and the things that I did at York.
I said I gotta learn to let go of it, 'cause I'm not trying to fall in love yet. Gotta learn to let go of it, 'cause I'm not trying to fall in love. Gotta learn to let go, 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 yeah. I've been ready for a long time, got my life on track with a strong mind, taking care of the both sides, but fucked up making moves in the wrong grind. I know we got a good thing, but it's hard 'cause we played so many games. And I ain't trying to throw any shade, but if you've been through pain, you want someone really nice, one who'll treat you right, making love all through the night, all through the night, all through the night. And I know I could be in time, be just what you like, yeah. But right now I ain't living right, ain't living right, ain't living right. I said I gotta learn to let go of it, 'cause I'm not trying to fall in love yet. Gotta learn to let go of it, 'cause I'm not trying to fall in love. Gotta learn to let go, 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 yeah. I'ma keep it real with you. I know I'm the only one who can deal with you. Got bands and build with you, and in time level up, finally heal with you. And I've been so lost in despair, chasing the hearts of the ones who don't care. I don't want you all caught up, no, I swear, no, 'cause that shit ain't never fair. You want someone really nice, one who'll treat you right, making love all through the night, all through the night, all through the night. And I know I could be a type, be just what you like, yeah. But right now I ain't living right, ain't living right, ain't living right. I said I gotta learn to let go of it, 'cause I'm not trying to fall in love yet. Gotta learn to let go of it, 'cause I'm not trying to fall in love. Gotta learn to let go,
the Desert Tiger Podcast.
After you graduate from York, you eventually make the decision to move on from R.T.B. the Writer, moving towards your new persona. So what was the decision behind doing that?
Oh, for sure. It was really driven on me just being in a different place than I was when I was R.T.B. the Writer. I had actually gone through a little bout of depression from 2015 to like the end of 2017. Just because, it's hard making it as an actor and, trying to pursue your art. Because as we know, it's not one of those careers that's guaranteed. And, just other things that were going on in my life that, made me question my talent, made me question if I was going in the right direction. And it literally was one day I just snapped out of it and said, you know what, you've made it this far and you are literally forgetting the reason why you do this. And that's because you're passionate about it. So when I was coming back to the music, I was like, you know what, I don't feel that this name represents who I am. And it's very childish in a sense, because like I said earlier, I created it based on what I used to see rap as back in like the early 2000s. But now being in the 2010s, it's time for me to grow up. And, I wanted it to become a more personalized experience and, something that, I could feel good about putting out. So Rosh Grove really became something more synonymous with how I was thinking in this stage of my life.
Okay, so you'd matured and it was time for the cocoon to hatch so that the butterfly could spring free.
Most definitely. Yeah, because I was really finding myself and, I feel like when I did find out who I was as a person and who I wanted to be as an artist, I was like, you know what, I need to grow and mature with the music. So Rosh Grove just seemed a little bit more fitting. Plus, I think it sounds a lot cooler. To be honest. I always imagined it like, if I was to be in a movie or something, like it would sound really weird if it was like starring R.T.B. the Writer versus like starring Rosh Grove. It's like, oh, okay, who's this guy? To be very candid with you, that's what it was all about.
I can understand that. No, the 2000s too, like the R.T.B. the Writer sort of fit that sort of time frame of rap as well, where like a lot of people were using names sort of in that sort of style too. So I can see how that sort of develops too.
Yeah. And another thing is I really rediscovered my love for R&B music and for pop. And, just looking at how some of the artists are like, the literally most pop artists is just their name or, it's something that represents them in terms of their personality. So I was like, you know what, like I still want to be me, but I want to have a persona that, the world can see. So Rosh Grove is just most fitting being that it's like a couple parts of my first and last name.
For sure. Continuing to just keep that connection to being true to you.
Most definitely. That's the name of the game out here, man. You got to be true to you.
All right. So let's talk about some of those first singles that you released as Rosh Grove, going back to that pop and R&B style. Let's talk about For a Little, Play Those Games, and So You Know. What was it like getting to this new style, finally starting to voice who you had now know that you have become?
For sure, man. I felt very relieved and just, I felt free in a sense. I had just connected with my boys, Brian B.C. Crockett and Ashton Adams, as well as, Kings and Kingdom Studios movement. And they really helped develop me as under this new persona and really taught me a lot about, music and really elevated what I was doing at the time. So I think the first track that we did was actually the For a Little song. And, it felt so good because I wanted to create a song that, was kind of synonymous with hookup culture and like, how everybody feels and something that people could vibe to, being that it was the summer when we did it. So it was cool, man, because we created this really dope tune that, a lot of people were feeling and it was catchy and, it really made me feel solidified into who I am as an artist and what I want the world to see of me. Play Those Games was another one too. Prior to that, being R.T.B. the writer, I was always very emotional, and a lot of my songs were very personalized to me. And I felt that was missing the connection that a lot of people were trying to make with me. So with Play Those Games, it was more generalized, but still personal in the sense that you can look at that song and hear it, but you can still relate it to your own life. And so, it's just, that's a dope record because, I started as a rapper, so I had to kind of keep that element within the R&B world. And it just was me coming out to the world saying that here I am and I'm proud of who I am, and I'm not going to apologize for what happens here on out, because, artistic expression is something that is within all of us, and we shouldn't have to apologize for how we feel on the inside. As long as it doesn't disrespect people, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Yeah. So it was very, very fun, man. And it really made me feel comfortable in the under the new name.
Okay, fantastic. So that was 2019, and 2020 here, you started to release a series of EPs known as Weekdays, beginning with Thursday, Friday released recently, and I'm sure Saturday will be the next installment. So what exactly was the idea behind Weekdays? And for those who are listening, it is week as in W-E-A-K.
For sure. Weekdays is more of a concept album, in a sense that I wanted to tell the story of what it means to go through a relationship and all the sort of things that you experience. And it's not just a romantic relationship, relationship with friends, relationships with yourself, and, just really dive deep into what a person might be going through on a daily basis, right? And that kind of came into where the title of Weekdays fit. But it's a very interesting ride that I think everybody's been taking on, being that Thursday Feels was a lot more about love and sadness in terms of, how one feels after, going through so much strife and struggle. Whereas Friday Vibes brought more of a happy sort of tone to it. I wanted to make something that, talked about the pursuit of happiness in terms of love and struggle, and wanted to create something that showcased my talent as a songwriter and mixed elements of R&B, pop, and even a little bit of alternative. So I feel like with Weekdays, you get a little vibe of everything, because throughout the day or throughout a week, we always experience different emotions and different things that happen. So it's something that can kind of resonate with everyone. Even if you're listening to it on one of your saddest days, you can still find some sort of comfort within the music.
Mm-hmm. For sure. It's got a wide array of vibes between the songs that are on these tracks. You dived into exactly what Thursday Feels goes into. So let's talk into the new one that released on June 12th, the Friday Vibes. And let's take a dive into each of the songs and exactly what their energy is. So let's start off with the top track, let's dive into the Friday Vibes energy. What exactly were you trying to capture with all three of these songs?
Oh, most definitely. It was really just going with what you feel or what an individual might feel on a Friday, being that it's the start of the weekend, it's the end of, a hard week. And I was really trying to go for that feeling that you might get on the drive home, preparing for the weekend. So, you're letting go of all that strife and all that struggle that you went through, Monday to Thursday, and now it's the Friday. So now it's time to, turn up and to show out and to really experience and enjoy what you're working so hard for, which is to spend your money and to spend time with friends and whatnot. So jumping into it with Low Key, it's one of those songs that's just a turn up track that, makes you feel a little bit gritty and gets you kind of hype, to start the weekend off.
Mm-hmm.
But sticking to my guns of adding a personal touch to it, it discusses my own desire for, privacy, in the sense that I don't want you to see all aspects of my life. I want you to see what I want to share, but let you know that I am deserving of the spotlight for all the good reasons. You know what I'm saying? I know it might be kind of confusing, but it's really just one of those things that I thought a lot of us could relate to, because with social media being such a big thing now, it's like, we want to put out what we want to share with the world. And even if we are personal about certain aspects of our life, I can release it when I want to on my own terms. So I'm very proud of the fact that I keep things low key, for the sake that, privacy is something that I want, but I'm still deserving of that spotlight if you're willing to look into it.
Definitely. It's you like to keep things low because not everybody needs to know all of your business, and not everybody needs to share all of their business, but at the same time, you gotta respect everybody else's wishes to do as they please with that information.
Exactly. I think that just comes with, you got to take things at face value, right? Like, just because you read it on the news or you read it on Six Buzz doesn't mean that it's necessarily the truth, and that's where I was coming from with that. And, a lot of people are feeling that track. I got some really good feedback and really good reception. And, it was produced by Toronto-based producer Beatbuster. Shout out to him. And, it's one of those tracks that I was really proud to put out there and see that people are enjoying it.
All right, good. I'm glad to see that too. And it's definitely a hype track that can get you pumped up if that's what you're looking for. Let's jump into the next one. Gotta Let Go. So from my vibe of this song, it sort of sounds like sort of a one-sided love, definitely going into the love aspect, the relationship aspect of this collection of EPs. So am I right in thinking this sort of track, or what exactly was the goal here?
Oh, most definitely. I think I was looking at, what it's like to date in 2020. Being that we have like dating apps and, we have like this whole push for online meeting people and stuff like that. And just hearing stories from, people around me about, this whole ghosting culture and, not really being sure about if this is love or lust or whatever. I wanted to create something that told that story, right? From my perspective, from my experience, right? Like, it's just saying that I realize that I got to let go of this, even though I know that it might be good for me, but I'm not ready for it. But it still kind of has that love aspect to it because, it like there's love in, this sort of world. And, I know a lot of people are looking at 2020 as like, oh, this is the worst time to date or whatever. But, it's just a different way of going about things, right? Like, we can't, the world constantly evolves and, we learn different things, as we grow older. And, it really just captures that sort of aspect of love. But yeah, it's still something that has a good vibe that makes you feel good and make you want to dance to it,
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Sometimes letting go, sometimes that also encapsulates good vibes as well and moving forward.
Yeah, because you never know. Sometimes you just got to let go of something that might not be working for you to realize something that's better for you or good for you.
Or sometimes things end up working out better in the future as people grow and maybe come back together. You never know what the future holds.
Exactly. You love something, you got to let it go, and you never know, man.
You never know. So let's talk about Run and Gun, which definitely seems to be of a different style of love as well.
For sure, man. Like, this is probably one of my favorite tracks to do. It was this is one of my favorite tracks that I did. It's produced by my man BC, and it just encapsulates that whole vibe of, what you want to do or what you want to say to that special someone. I feel like it's something that is a good way to address love in 2020, being that it's a new decade, and it's got that vibe that fits anything. Like, it's one of those records that you could throw on in the car. You could throw it on a first date if you're driving, if you're at home chilling. It's something that, works perfectly to dedicate to that special someone, man. And I wanted people to understand that there's still that kind of love out there. Like, someone that you'll run and do anything for, somebody that you're willing to put your life on the line for, man. Like, that love really does still exist. And, this is that record that says that sort of thing.
Where you'll drop anything in order to make it happen and be there if that person needs you, and just like ride or die.
Exactly. And that's exactly why I called it Run and Gun, because it's like, everybody has that sort of love or has had that experience where, you have a ride or die, man, that you'll do anything for it.
Fantastic. All right. I love going through this EP and I love listening to it as well. So thank you so much for joining me here today, Rosh. I still have one last question for you, but before I ask it, where can the listeners of the DTP find out more about you and your music?
For sure, man. You can check me out on IG. That's probably like the main way that I communicate all the new stuff happening, but I'm actually fortunate to be on all major platforms. So even if you got Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, SoundCloud, Rosh has got you, man. Just search up Rosh Grove and you'll find me. And I look forward to connecting with y'all and appreciate your support and the love, man.
All right. Fantastic. So last question. Say there's a young person, because your message of your music, very much of overcoming adversity and coming over obstacles, coming out and being a better person. So say that there's someone who's listening to this right now, and maybe even like because it's the pandemic, maybe they're trapped at home, but even maybe beforehand, they were trying to find the means to express who they are, whether it's through acting, whether it's through music, whether it's through something else. What would you say to that individual to continue to fight forward, to continue to pursue their passions and their dreams and what they feel they can achieve?
The best piece of advice that I ever got was never take it as no, always take it as not right now. The one thing that I always had personally was I never let something stop me from pursuing it because I was so passionate about it. And as long as you have that passion and you keep that drive, you can literally do anything. You can overcome any obstacle that you put your mind to. Don't ever give up. Don't settle for less. Always look to improve yourself and always seek out other opportunities, because you never know, when one door closes, you might just have to turn around and there's another one that's waiting to open for you. So keep going, keep pushing, keep striving, and just know that one day your dreams will come to fruition, man. And I'm living proof to tell anybody that I've gotten pretty low at some points, but I kept going and I kept pushing because I love doing this. I love music. I love film. And I always knew that one day, like, things would happen if I just had the right keys. So keep going, keep striving, and you'll get there.
Hey, sometimes rock bottom is a great place to pick yourself back up and get on your feet again.
Exactly. It's a jump off point, man. Like, every runner and every sprinter starts on the ground, man. And then, they have to kind of find their way and just keep going along the track. So that's how you have to treat life. Hey. Everything starts from the bottom and you work your way up to the top.
Hey, every plane also starts on the ground as well.
Exactly.
All right. I love it. Thank you so much for joining me today, Rosh Grove.
Of course, man. Thank you for having me, man. I appreciate it. To all the listeners out there, thank you so much for listening, and God bless, man.
Could have my eyes closed, go with a blindfold, and still it won't obstruct the view. Whipping the ride slow, watching the time go, still have my mind caught up on you. All of this money don't compete with what you do to me. I'm stuck and I'll repeat and loop. Let caution flow within the breeze in hopes I find some peace. No joke, girl, what I need is you. I heard the shot ring and I got it. First I was wondering, now I'm convinced. Falling so hard before I even slip. So don't you trip. But if you did, no, I'll run for you. Yeah. Stumble, trip, fumble, slip, I'll pick you up and I'll cover you. Load the clip, gas the whip, I'm pulling up and I'll cover you. Long as we know it, we don't need to show it, so I'll risk it all for you. Girl, I'll cover you, I'll run it up. I'm pulling up, out here like yo, what's up with you? Run and gun for you. Usually I'm on the low when it comes to these emotions, so afraid to let it show. Put everybody through the motions, never trust a single soul. That's just how it is when you are broken. What I find with you, I'm open. Didn't know I had a need for your love. Give me everything I need and then some. Turn a nigga to a fiend for a hug. Put it in your soul deep, make it numb. Always felt it was so hard, trying to cover up most scars. Feel I'm above the bar with you. I heard the shot ring and I got it. First I was wondering, now I'm convinced. Falling so hard before I even slip. So don't you trip. But if you did, no, I'll run for you. Stumble, trip, fumble, slip, I'll pick you up and I'll cover you. Load the clip, gas the whip, I'm pulling up and I'll gun for you. Long as we know it, we don't need to show it, so I'll risk it all for you. Girl, I'll come for you, I'll run it up. I'm pulling up, out here like yo, what's up with you? Run and gun for you. Stumble, trip, fumble, slip, I'll pick you up and I'll cover you. Load the clip, gas the whip, I'm pulling up and I'll gun for you. Long as we know it, we don't need to show it, so I'll risk it all for you. I'll come for you, I'll run it up. I'm pulling up, out here like yo, what's up with you? Run and gun for you.
And taking you into the weekend with those Friday vibes, we just played for you a Run and Gun. And hopefully you got that somebody who makes your heart flutter, makes it race, that you can hang out with this weekend. I mean, if not, you're still killing it out there on your own. I see you rocking it all confidently, being all swinging it single and whatnot. Yeah, I see ya. Either way, though, yeah, we just played Run and Gun for you, and we also played the other two tracks off of Weekend's Friday Vibes by Rosh Grove. Of course, in the middle of the show, we played Gotta Let Go, and to kick off this episode of the DTP, you heard Low Key. Alright, and with that being said, I have to go ahead and give a big old roaring DTP thank you to Rosh for joining us here on today's episode, and I have to thank Amanda over at Vocab Communications for helping with hooking this chat up. And last but not least, I have to thank you for tuning into this episode of the show. Why don't you go ahead and join the ambush? It's super simple. All you got to do is subscribe. You can also help the show grow by reviewing and by sharing this episode. Another way that you can help the show is by going and checking out R.T.B.theWriter.com. We got 2 new designs coming next week. Yes, you heard me right. You've heard me talking about them over the last couple weeks of the podcast. But yes, the new tank top, it's coming. Yes, the new t-shirt, our first colored t-shirt is coming. It's going to be like a nice teal aquamarine thing going on, and it's going to be fantastic. I'm hyped for you guys to see it. So yeah, by the time you guys hear next week's episode, those are going to be available for you in your hands. Go and check out our social media so you can find out exactly when they drop. All right, next week you guys know that we're gonna have another exciting journey as we put our paws in the sand and join another amazing, driven individual who is chasing down their dreams and goals. You know, they're top of their mountain so they can let their voice sing, their desert oasis so they can get to some relaxing. Until next week, that's exactly what I want you guys to do as well. Get out there, reach for the stars, do your thing, and be your own queen or king, whatever it is that you choose. And until next week, bye-bye.